Welcome back to another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C. And today we have our first ever unboxing video. I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have bought, some of the items, the apparel, clothing, camping gear, as I accumulate as I go out on these hikes and I use different equipment, my buddy's equipment, as I learn what works for me, what I think doesn't work, what I don't like that my buddy has. I'm making purchases and I'm trying to build out I guess a gear loadout, a list that I can take out with me when I go solo, which I haven't done yet, but I'm hoping to do here in a few weeks. And so I've been slowly accumulating over the last couple of months as I've been taking one trip a month out to the Appalachian Trail. And so I thought I would do my first unboxing and share with you a little bit of a few of the items that I've purchased over the last couple of months and that I take with me out on the Appalachian Trail. So to start with, this video is going to be a handful of items that I use sleeping. I'm not going to talk about tents just yet, but just sleeping, like sleeping bags, sleeping pads, etc. So without further ado, I'm going to pull this bag right here. Now, I do this because this is the original bag, REI, that my sleeping bag came in. So if you watched my first video, my first hike, right? Do you see how big this bag is? This is what the sleeping bag should fit in, right? I have a 25 degree REI bag, circa 2005, 2009, something like that. We're going to toss that away. And it weighs about 3.5, 3 3/4 pounds. Pretty heavy bag. 25 degree REI bag that's 10, 15 years old. I don't even remember when I bought it. So that was the bag that it comes packed in originally. But since, actually for my third hike, I bought a Outdoor Research ultralight 15-liter compression sack. Now, I used a buddy of mine's, Jack Wolfskin, I believe it was, compression sack. And so I don't really know much about compression sacks other than they make things smaller. They compress them. And as I undo this. So basically I was just trying to save weight in my pack. Or not weight, size. And so I got this compression sack because that REI, just the regular little container or whatever you want to call it, sack that it comes in, doesn't really work for backpacking. So I bought this compression sack, 15-liter, and I've been really happy with it. I mean, I've only taken it out on one trip, to be honest, about 5 days, 4 days, 4 or 5 days. But Outdoor Research, nice compression sack. As far as I know, it's waterproof. I try not to go out in the rain. We had a little rain, but I was in my tent, so it was fine. But I'm going to show y'all here in this compression sack my old school REI mummy sleeping bag, 25 degree mummy sleeping bag. So what I will say as I pull this thing out of here, it's pretty dang amazing. I got the long, I believe. I don't think they really did a whole lot of the same stuff back when I bought this. What does this say? Polar Pod. Yeah, Polar Pod 25 degree. My mic's back here. Polar Pod 25 degree long. Polyester fill. There you go. Mummy sleeping bag. And Polar Pod 25 degree REI long. So what I will tell you is, because I was not I have not been a hiker, camper, etc. extraordinaire. I am, to get technical, I'm 6 feet 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just under, barefoot, just under 6'1". For all purposes, I say 6'1", but I'm not quite. I mean, when you look at the sizing of sleeping bags, etc., sleeping pads, what have you, as we'll go through that, they always say like 5 whatever to 6 feet is regular, 6 feet or 6'1" to 6'6", large, long, extra large, whatever. And I've always been right at that cutoff. And so when I was younger, I would always go with the long because I was like, oh, I'm taller than, I just, whatever, there was some ego involved. And what I realized over the last couple of months has been that, one, I don't want to bring extra weight. I'm not a gram Nazi. I'm not going to go crazy. But, regular length is lighter, and because it's shorter. And really, I'm 3/4 of an inch over 6 feet. So this much of me is going to be, outside of a sleeping bag, as opposed to someone who's 6 feet tall. I mean, whatever that, here versus here, like, what is 3/4 of an inch on my face really going to do in terms of keeping me warm? It's not like it's down here. I mean, either way, 3/4 of an inch doesn't really matter. So that's the long version of that old school sleeping bag. And so that was a big improvement in my second hike over carrying that really heavy 0-degree bag that my buddy let me borrow. And so then I wanted to, and that was free because I already owned that bag, right? And so I just brought it for my second hike. But in between the hikes, the first hike and the second hike, I bought what I'm going to unbox now. And before I do that, I'm going to, because I no longer bring my Ozark Trail hatchet, I figured it would be a great unboxing tool. So, throw that over there. And then we'll see if we can't unbox. Let's see what we have here. I made sure when I was repacking this that I don't cut through something that I don't want to cut through, because that would be bad. You know what I mean? It's all show business. So yeah, that Ozark Trail hatchet, don't really use anymore. Ooh, didn't mean to hit the computer. All right, so what do we have in here? Well, what we have is, I'll tell you this right now. I watched a bunch of videos when I was doing my research. I was trying to figure out, sleeping pads. I don't really understand sleeping pads, sleeping bags. That's a mummy style sleeping bag. I already had it, temperature wise, what have you. I came across a guy named Dan Becker, and he seems like a pretty funny guy, pretty chill. He's into his own hiking, comfort, etc. I agree with that. I'm pretty big into comfort. And I came across a couple other channels, and they had these things they said it was like a great buy. And then they called it closed cell foam. Yeah, that's a term. And there's pads to sit on if it's wet, whatever. And they said, it's a great cheap investment, buy a closed cell foam. And a lot of them use, I think it's called Gossamer gear. Well, Gossamer gear is out. They don't have that 1/8 inch closed cell foam pad. So I was on backcountry.com, and I will tell you this right now. Backcountry gives you 15% off your first order. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't have 1,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers, but they give you 15% off. So I'm going to tell you the prices of what I bought. Of what I bought with the 15%. So I bought a lot with this first. I know that's loud. This first after the first trip, I said, hey, there are a handful of things that I can buy that will make my next trip better. And they don't necessarily have to cost a lot of money. I didn't want to buy big items like a tent, a cook system, a pack, a new sleeping bag or quilt. Like those were higher priced items that I didn't want to buy. But I thought, a foam pad would be nice. 1/8 inch. So what I ended up buying is, if you can see this, man, this thing is unwieldy, right? You see that? It's a big Agnes, not 1/8 inch. It's a 3rd degree close-cell foam pad. It's 48 inches, 4 feet long. I didn't get the full one. I didn't get the super short one. I got the mid-range. And it's 8 ounces. I spent about $21. And I have taken this on the last 2 hikes. And I will tell you that I've used it a couple times to sit on rocks. I've used it a couple times to, like just put random things on it so they don't get wet. But really what I do the most with it, because I don't want to cut it up. When I got it, it wasn't like the Gossamer gear where people were like, oh, or somebody said, I think it was Outdoor Research, not Outdoor Research, Gear, I don't know. I'll have to put a link in the description, but there's another guy that does some cool videos, and they talk about cutting little sections off so you can kneel or sit on it. But the way this has that ribbing and stuff, I didn't want to cut it. When I got it, I was like, I know it's only $20, but I didn't want to cut it, so I just put it under my sleeping pad, and maybe it adds a little R value, a little separation from the ground. I don't really know. Maybe a little extra comfort. It is a little foam. It's a little bit more. I haven't felt a single rock. I haven't felt a single, twig, anything when I'm sleeping, other than just sleeping on an air pad, sleeping pad, and being in a sleeping bag. But yeah, I mean, I've been very happy with it. It's not heavy. I carry it on the outside of my pack, and I mean, I'm sure there's cheaper options, there's thinner options, but for being a purchase, for not being what I expected, for not what I thought was just a 1/8 inch really thin Gossamer gear kind of thing, I've been pleased with it. I think it's great. So moving on, I will say this. I'm going to save one thing for last. I've got two more items. So this is the bag that it comes in. And I was going to put it. It's Nemo. But, I'll tell you, this is my pillow. You see how big this is? Yeah. This is the Nemo Hilo King size pillow. Oh my God. So you can hear. Oh my God. Oh my God. So great. Right here. So this thing is, I get it. It's 14 ounces. And I'll tell you that, as I've said on my Instagram, I'm more of a glamper. I'm not a hard, I haven't shaved in a week or so, and I just can't even grow facial hair. So, I'm not going to be, cutting ounces and grams and whatever to try to be as light as possible. As I said earlier in the video, I'm over 6 feet tall. I weigh 190 plus pounds, give or take, depending on the day. And, I can carry an extra pound or two on my back. I'm not really worried about that. And, but what I do want is comfort. And so when I was looking at pillows, and I watched a number of videos on people talking about their pillow choices, lack thereof, what have you, weight. And one of the things that I despise about travel pillows is how small they are. And if I'm gonna have a pillow, I want it to be a pillow. If I'm not gonna have a pillow, then it's just gonna be an uncomfortable night's sleep. So if I'm gonna have a pillow, it better be a decent size. And it's a decent size, right? Like, put it next to my face. Yeah, like it's a ginormous pillow. For those of you that want to know, here, well, you blow it up, but we'll do this real quick. It doesn't take long, right? But you just roll it up, take the air out, a couple seconds, not too bad. Oh, and then what I will say about this pillow choice is I looked on Backcountry right before I made this video, and like I said, I'm not sponsored or anything, but I did order this through Backcountry, and it's no longer available. I'm not sure if they don't make this anymore, whatever the situation is, but you know, it doesn't take too long. You just pack it up, and it fits nice and snug into the sack. Cinch it up, and you know, like 14 ounces. It's not bad. And it makes my life a lot more comfortable out on trail. So Nemo Philo king size pillow. I bought that for my second hike on the Appalachian Trail from Springer Mountain Parking to Neal Gap to Mountain Crossings. And then I will say the last thing I did was I wanted to buy a sleeping pad, because in my first hike video, as I told you, we used one of the oldest Thermarest air/foam. I don't even know what you call them because I'm such a newbie. And that pad weighed like 3.5 pounds. And I saw a number of videos and a number of people that recommended for money as well as comfort the Climate Static V2 inflatable sleeping pad. And I will tell you, the reason what sold me was one price, $65. I got it for $55.21 with that 15% discount first order, and from Backcountry, and yeah. So what sold me was the price is half to a third the cost of like some of the nicer Nemo Tensor or Thermarest other things, and I'm a newbie, so I didn't want to spend 130, 150 bucks, 180 bucks on a sleeping pad that I don't really know if it's any better or worse. But what really got me was that it's 3 inches wider. It's 23 inches as opposed to 20 inches, and so I didn't go with the wide of other brands. So they have like a regular, which is 20, and then a wide, which is 25. So this one just comes at 23, and I thought, well, that's great. It's affordable at 65 bucks or so, and it's wider than a regular. And I might toss and turn. I don't really know because I'm a newbie camping. And yeah, so I will say that I have spent several nights now, 5 nights or so, 5, 6, 7 nights on this thing, and it works great. I don't really know. I haven't tried other sleeping pads other than that original, but what I will do is because this video is getting long, is I will do a separate sleeping pad product review, I guess, and then my wife's gonna get one, and so maybe I'll be able to compare it to something else. But yeah. So basically, what happened, to sum all of this up in this video, is I went out for my first hike with basically a 15, 20-year-old backpack and none of my and my clothes, and then I used my buddy's gear. And so for my second hike with the same buddy, I said, okay, let me bring my own sleeping bag, and then let me start to buy some small pieces of gear and start to build an entire gear loadout. And so I started with my sleep equipment, a pad, sleeping pad, a pad to go under, and a pillow, because I'm a wuss and I love comfort. So yeah, so that's what this is about. Just a few pieces of my sleep equipment that I purchased between my first hike and my second hike on the Appalachian Trail. Like, subscribe if you want to see more content. If you don't, don't. But this is just one man's journey as a house husband up along the Appalachian Trail, northbound from Georgia. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of the House Husband Diaries. Have a good day.